Yeah, bro. I think it's just up to the individual. Like, it's a different situation for everybody. Like some people love it, and then they end up being the quote unquote starving artist.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a video today. They were like a starving artist is essentially just like a glorified loser because it's like they end up like they got the passion, they got the love for it, but
Yeah.
then they don't have the balance of like, all right, I gotta eat, like I gotta get money from it.
Right.
They don't. They're purists, so they don't. You know, they don't. They think they're selling out if they make money from their craft,
Gotcha.
and that's far from what I want to be. Like I want to make money. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's not. I don't try to be secretive about that or like deceptive. Um, Otherwise, I wouldn't sell a product. Like it's to make money, but it's also to get a message out and to be an outlet for me.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy back again with another episode of Big Boss Talk, the podcast. Listen, this episode right here is gonna be super fun, super dope. Only because like I seen this man, like we went to the same college, seen him hoop, like the most athletic hooper. I like just in general, like the bunnies out the gym. Like every time we went to go watch the game because we wanted to show support to the basketball team. We always really just wanted to come see if Troy was gonna boom on somebody. Like that's really how we used to go down. Me and AB, Anthony Blair, we used to come in and be like, hey, you think Troy gonna get a body today? We were like, I don't know, we're gonna see. And I used to see him, he caught a couple of bodies, he tried to catch some bodies, but man, he's been doing ever since, leaving college, right? Just everything that he's done, his brand, the way he lives his life, his lifestyle. I've been intrigued. I've been kind of keeping watch, and then I've also been taking notes and trying to implement things for myself. But let me introduce my guest to you guys. All right, so I got Troy Blyden, age 28, career job. He's an athlete / content creator. He went to North Greenville University, got his degree in sports management. Years in his profession is 3.5. So he's coming up. He's got some time in his profession. Obviously, still young, but he's learned some things, made some mistakes, but also excelled in a lot of different things as well too. So we want to make sure we get all perspectives. But before we start, Troy, say what's up.
Yo, what's going on? I'm
Ain't
glad
no,
to be here. Thank you for having me on. Glad to connect with you in this way. Like, it's not like we're just talking on the phone. It's like you're really doing something cool. So, like, glad to be a part of it.
Man,
For
that's
sure.
what's up, man. That's what's up. We
Yeah.
appreciate you, man. Thank you for saying yes, because a lot of people, anybody could say no, but we appreciate you taking your time to just hop on and sit on the screen with us. Before we start, though, Big Boss Talk wouldn't be anything without our two truths and a lie. So we need your 3 statements, and then I'm going to guess the lie.
Okay, for sure. All right. So, first, my dad is actually pretty good friends with Jay-Z, and he was at my first birthday party. Um, the second statement, I used to play football with Logan Paul. And the third statement, I've actually done over 20,000 push-ups this year. So there you go.
Nah, there's some dope statements.
It's
Okay,
on
so
you, bro.
that's on me. Ooh, that's dope. Jay-Z came to the spot. Man, you wouldn't lie about that, man. You a big music head. You wouldn't lie about that, man. I would listen to your take on like your top producers and all that good stuff. You and your homies, y'all in the music. I hope you wouldn't lie on Jay-Z like that. So I'm gonna say that's a truth. Then the thing with Jake Paul, I would believe. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's between the push-ups and Jake Paul, and the reason why the push-ups is because you work out outside a lot. You do a lot of dips, all that good stuff, and you've been pretty consistent with it. So I could believe, but 20,000, no, that's a lot. Okay, I'm gonna say the push-ups is the lie. I think the first two are the truths. I'm gonna say the push-ups is a lie.
Man, I'm offended, bro. I'm offended because you are wrong.
Dang,
I've
dang,
actually done probably close to like 22,000 push-ups this year.
what?
So I'm doing a challenge where like I do at least 100 a day, and then by the end of the year that'll be like 36,500. So
Yeah. Oh
so
my
yeah, that was true.
God.
So
what was the lie?
another chance. What was the lie? You just
Yeah.
want to know or you want to guess?
Well, I mean, it's 50-50 from here, so I think, dang. I'm going to say, okay, the Jay-Z was the lie.
Yeah, that was the lie.
Okay.
That was the lie.
Dang. I really.
Yeah, I used to play football with Logan Paul. He was, and my stepdad was the coach, and I used to run track with him and his brother too. Like, yeah, it's crazy to see how they came up.
Yeah, are they the same that you remember to now?
I mean, we were kids, bro. It was like I was in 6th grade, so
Yeah,
they're a little bit younger than me.
a little
So
bit
like,
younger.
I don't really, they weren't very talkative. I just
Okay.
remember Logan was like the fastest kid I ever seen, bro. Like he was the star of our team.
I believe.
Like, yeah, he was really good.
That's dope. I'm glad them boys found their passion, man. I see one of them doing like WWE and then boxing, so it's getting crazy for them out there. So I love to see it, see it for them. So Jay-Z was the lie, but you did play football with Logan Paul, and then we did the push-up. So like, I do want to ask you, bro, like, where did why'd you start doing? Talk to me about the lifestyle change, right? So I see you, working out outside. I see you, doing the dips. You know what I'm saying? You did the freeform locks. Like, just talk to me about that. Like, what was the decision and process behind that stuff?
Right. I mean, so they're all kind of connected in some way, but I definitely started them at different times. Like I'll start with, growing my hair out. Like that was a decision I made when I was living in New York at the time, and I was like tired of getting haircuts. I was like self-conscious about my hairline and like stuff a lot of guys go through. But like,
yeah,
I saw a video on YouTube one day, and it was like how to freeform dreadlocks, and then instantly I was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do, like 100%.
Yeah.
And like it was like J. Cole was on the thumbnail, funny enough, because everybody says I look like him. But as I started watching it, I was like, oh, like I didn't know I could do this. Like this is what I'm gonna do now.
For sure.
So then right before that, I was probably like 6 months before that, I was getting into, like a healthier lifestyle, like a more holistic lifestyle, learning about, the Dr. Sebi's, Lale Africa. So they were kind of just connected, like just a more like natural path for me.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's it, bro. Like
that's what's up.
Now I'm here, and I just stay consistent with all of that. My diet has changed throughout the years, and
yeah,
I was vegan for a while. I'm not doing that anymore. But I just try to be conscious about things that I do and be intentional with it. That's all.
Bro, I like it, man. I saw the changes that you were making. Obviously, on Instagram, like a lot of people, wouldn't document that process though. Like along the way, you documented your process of your mindset change, things that you're learning, things that you're doing on a daily basis. Like you're documenting that and putting that out. Was that a conscious decision to really document and just try to put that stuff out there as far as like content? Because obviously you're a content creator, but I just wanted to kind of know the mindset of, I want to start documenting this and putting this out for other people to see. Was that conscious decision, or is just like, I'm just on social media,
Yeah, good question. I mean, it became more conscious as I went along, and as I, followed the Gary V's and all these guys that are always preaching documentation. But like before that, I was just a social media kid. Like this is what we grew up with. Yeah. So like that was my way of communicating and connecting with people on a deeper level, I felt like.
Yeah.
So like showing it kind of like a behind the scenes of my life is kind of like a way to better understand me. Definitely. So, and it's a better way to stay connected with friends and, former classmates like you. It's just like, I love social media for that reason. But nowadays it's like I'm more intentional with my posts. So I'm not showing everything, but like I like documenting certain things about my life. Like I try to be very honest and open, but not overshare.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people think like in order to be completely honest, like you got to just tell everything. Not everything is everybody's business.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not just gonna show you everything about my life because it's not, it's not for everybody to see.
It's a tricky line, for some people. Like I feel like a lot of people, have that discernment on like, all right, of course I want to be honest, I want to be vulnerable, But then, like you said, everything is not meant for everybody because, some people get into that stuff and, they try to, intertwine or, maybe they preying on like a downfall just because they know that you maybe, you suffer at something like this or, it gets tricky. So, I do feel that as far as like what, monitoring like what you put, but also trying to be as honest as possible. I think a lot of times people say, social media is nothing but a highlight reel. And I was talking to one of my buddies and I was just like, well, I mean, yeah, it's a highlight reel. But also like people try to be vulnerable, but at the same time, people scared to be vulnerable on social media because they might get picked at or looked at different. You know what I'm saying? It's vicious on social media, bro. Like super crazy. So you just kind of got to be mindful or things of that nature. Do you get a lot of DMs as far as like people asking you questions about your, holistic lifestyle? Do you get classmates like from NG be like, man, when you, start doing that or X, Y, Z? Do you get a lot of that?
Yeah, I get a lot of more so like people that may watch my YouTube videos and stuff, people I don't know.
Yeah.
Some former classmates and stuff will reach out and be like, yo, I like what you're doing. Like, let's catch up, whatever, which is cool too. But it's more so like random people that I've never met before. And it's not like crazy. Like, not like I'm famous or anything, but it's a lot of people where it's like, dang, people are actually watching what I'm doing, which is cool.
Yeah.
So
you touching a lot of people, man. And then I guess moving forward, as far as you talked about the Gary V's of the world, right? So I saw you when you the first time. I don't know the first time you met Gary V, but I hit you up and I was like, yo, that's hard, like Gary V, like, cause I'm a fan of Gary V. Like I'm a fan of his aura, his attitude, his perspective on life is a very, like, I don't know, he goes and get it, but he's also like so down to earth, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and his tenacity. So like it's crazy how you can be such a go-getter, but then also still like very like down to earth preaching, like you still got time. Like, bro, I ain't know what I was doing between 20 and 30, but like you still got the time. So what was it like meeting Gary V, and how did you, why do you like Gary V?
Yeah, I like him for the same reasons you're talking. Like he is that go-getter, New York City, like, yo. I don't know if I can curse on
it. Yeah,
but,
you can curse, man. You can be
okay. All right, but like he's got that side of him, but then he's also got like the really humble side and like the empathetic side, where it's like it's almost like you could tell he was very loved by his mother. Like he understands people in a certain way. So like it's almost like he's like a distant father figure in a way. Like I started watching him at a time where I was like, I felt really lost, and I was like looking for some type of direction. And his videos and his vlogs really like guided me through a lot of things. So that's like the real reason I like him. So like I met him a couple times. First time was I was doing an internship with the New York Yankees, and I saw on Instagram that he was doing a meetup like right when I got off of work.
Yeah.
And I was, oh yeah, I'm going. So the girl I was dating at the time, I sent it to her. I said, yo, let's go here after I get off, whatever. We went there. It was like at this coffee shop. It was probably like 50 people there.
Yeah.
And then, he just took the time to speak to everybody. And if you wanted to get a video, you get a video. Like, he was just really cool. So the next time was a little bit more personable. Like, it was at his first sneaker launch. He did a collab with K-Swiss, and there was a line outside of Foot Locker in New York City. So I waited in line by myself for like a couple of hours, and then I met like some great people in line, whatever. And then once I got to the front of the line and met him, I asked him a question. I was making beats at the time. I was still just feeling really lost and like just wanted some advice from him.
Yeah.
Like, I watched his videos for so long. It'd be cool to get some advice in person. And then that clip ended up on his vlog on YouTube, and he posted it on Instagram like for a couple of times, which was really cool. So you could tell like that interaction was super genuine and like probably impacted a lot of people that saw it too, which was cool. So I mess with Gary Vee, man. I still follow him to this day. He's the king. One of the GOAT to this social media thing.
Yeah, he's a GOAT for real, man. And I just, like I said, like you kind of mentioned, is the genuineness. Like I've never seen anybody like that's so genuine, and obviously, he has his own perspective on life and how, you should go about life. And like he's stuck with that same perspective. Like obviously he's might have changed or evolved, but his perspective of just like, bro, you got time, but you always got to be like, putting building to your craft. Like he's a king of just like content, content, content. Put it out there. It doesn't matter how it looks, nothing, but just documentation, things like that. Like that's something I take heed to as far as like just putting content out. Like we've been on the schedule of just putting 2 episodes out every single week ever since January, and so like it's been one of those things where we're trying to keep up with just content, making sure it's quality, but also just quantity as well. So I think it's cool that you got to meet him and really get to ask him that question. And you mentioned something as far as like being, a time where you were being lost. Like, so if you don't know, like this is for, kids, right? For the youth. And, the things that, you may have wished you had questions or answers to, we can now pass those answers to kids or people that could be watching, so they don't have to really go into this roadblock, or they don't have to hit this wall, or if they hit the wall, they don't have to be looking at it for such a long time trying to figure out how to get over the wall, because we have the answers and we can pass that down. Do you mind speaking on like that time period where you were lost? Like, what made you feel like you were lost, and just how did you come to your, I guess you would say, your sense of humility on the realization that we're always, everything's always going to be changing. Like there's no real destination.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. I realized that, and it's
Yeah.
like you're always gonna be kind of lost in a sense.
Yeah.
Like nobody has it 100% figured out. So like to this day, I still put some pressure on myself where it's like, all right, I got to do this. I got to be at a certain place in my life. I'm all 28 now. Like I'm pushing 30. I'm like, oh shoot, like
Yeah.
like, it's regular life stuff. But I'm just more comfortable with myself and like my situation and like what I provide to the world, and like things that I like doing. I've found a way to make income doing that in some way, which is a blessing. But that, speaking back on the times where I was like, I felt really, really lost. It was like post college, working a regular job, and like just feeling. So I did an internship with the Yankees right when I graduated NGU.
Yep.
And like that's like one of the best internships you can get. I was sitting next to the CFO of the Yankees, like in the office. Like that was great. So once I didn't like get a full-time position with them, I kind of felt like I failed, and I was like letting my dad down, and I felt like a loser, bro. Damn. And then I was just in a dark space, bro. I experienced lots of depression and all types of stuff. So it was a blessing to have family and have family around. And even though like you bump heads with them, you realize like those are the people that matter the most. Like those are the people that have your back when you're in those dark times.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but like,
no, you good, bro.
It's like you just gotta, in those times, like for kids listening and young people, like you just have to always be grateful and have the optimism to know that like it's gonna be better. Like and also, what is your other option? So like it's either try to keep going and try to get on the other side of that depression or whatever.
Yep.
Or like what else? What's the other option? Just sit in it and like what are you gonna do? Like so you have the choice.
Yep.
The world is not a pretty place. Like it's not gonna be like super nice to you all the time. Like there's you gotta go through some stuff. Yeah. It's not always gonna be sweet. But life is so precious. It's like we're so lucky to be here. So, you can either sit and wallow in your problems or, just see the upside of things.
For sure.
And that's what I choose to do most of the time. I still have my times where I'm in a dark place. I'm not in a good mood, but like, I try to be in a good mood more than not. That's all. So through meditation, through therapy, exercise, things like that, reading, it's like you find more of yourself.
I love it, man. That's deep. Like, I mean, to be honest, like I know you talk about you don't want to go on a tangent, but I feel like the tangents are good, man. Like sometimes you just gotta go on those tangents and kind of just tell like what it's really like. And I think to your point, what are you gonna do? You can either sit in it or you can choose to move forward. You know what I'm saying? Like there's only 2 ways you can go in life. It's either up, down, And that's pretty much it. I don't really think you can stay in the middle because every day you're making a decision to do something. So either that decision is helping you rise, or it's also some decisions that help you kind of go backwards. But I think being lost, like there's two ways you can go about this, right? So you talked about graduating, having that internship with the Yankees, not, obviously not being hired full time and just feeling like you were, letting your folks down. Probably felt like you didn't have a real direction in what you wanted to, really go, or what was next in your life. And I think, sometimes I feel like having that type of experience early is sometimes better than having that experience later. And the only reason why I say this is because I would say somebody like myself, like, I don't think I ever had like that. I've dealt with like depression, right? But it's more of a keeping myself busy at all time. Like, okay, you got to find something to do. You got to, be here, be there at this particular time. Always stay busy. Always have something going on, so that way nobody feels like you're bumming it, or you're not being to your fullest potential. And I've come to the realization now, or come to this point now where I find myself getting burnt out very quick, just because I've done so much, I moved so much. I never really sat down and just been like, all right, let's find a direction, like, or just sit in it and be like, hey, it's okay, you don't know what you really want to do. You know what I mean? And so I appreciate you just for opening up and just kind of letting us in on that, on that moment or timepiece in your life, and just letting people know that it's a linear moving thing. Like you never will really have it figured out, and you'll always go back into those places where you may not feel adequate enough. But you keep moving, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I appreciate that, man, for sure.
And just to add to that, I was actually watching a video earlier today, and this guy was talking about like live every day the way you want to go out. So like basically, if you died today, would you be satisfied with how you were living, like what you were doing?
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't know when you're gonna die, and it's like, so just don't waste too much time like doing things that you hate. Like everybody's had a job where it's like you don't really like it, whatever, and you gotta eat. But at the same time, like at least have a direction you're going into, where it's like you're going into the life you want to live.
Yeah.
Like use things as a tool rather than this is just what I do and this is it. Don't accept things that you're not okay with.
Man, that's a true statement. Use your job. Like most people now, there was this time where everybody was like entrepreneur, like you got to be an entrepreneur. But now I think now it's becoming that was wrong. I feel like as a culture, when we find out find out ways to be more financial literate, we're going to push those to the extreme, because it's like, all right, we got to help our people become financial literate. And at the time, it was like, entrepreneurship, you need to own a business, LLC. And I'm like, and now it's like people understand that, okay, we can do both. You know what I'm saying? We can still go to work and then have little hobbies on the side and utilize, LLCs to our benefit, utilize entrepreneurship to our benefit, but everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur.
There you go.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel
it's okay to be an employee.
Exactly.
Like, some people are great employees. Some people don't make good bosses. Some people don't make good employees. Like, there's always, it's a what's it called? It's like a food chain.
Yep. And we need people in each.
Yes, bro. And it's not bad. Like, you're not less of a man because you don't own a business. Like,
Yeah, it was a funny times. But all right, so then we're gonna I want to go start from the beginning, right? So I appreciate we going into all of that, but what did Troy actually want to be, growing up? Like young Troy running around, what was your dream goal?
Well, my first ever dream was to be a professional skateboarder. And then my dad was like, my stepdad, he was like, I'm telling you, bro, like, you're good, but you're gonna grow. Like, this is not a good idea. Keep doing it. Like, keep doing it if you have fun with it, whatever. I still skate to this day. Like, just love it. But, like, just, yeah. If you want to do something, like, athletically, like, professionally, like, do basketball or something. Like, if you want to be an athlete, just, and, there's a lot of truth in that because you don't really see too many really long guys skate. Like, it's just not. It doesn't go anyway, skateboarding, like, as I got wiser, I was like, I realized I don't want to be like jumping down 30 stairs and like risking breaking my arm every trick. So like, but yeah, that was the first thing I ever wanted to do. Yeah, then like around like then there was really nothing else after that up until like college when I started making beats, and I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to be a producer.
Yeah.
And I would always love music. I have a music podcast right now. Like,
yep.
I love music. And honestly, one day I might pick it up again.
Yeah.
And just as a hobby, maybe something I want to do for, but yeah, that's really what I wanted to do. But other than that, like I've always had so many different interests. There was never one thing I honed in on and was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of tough when you have so many interests and you're like pretty good at a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
It can kind of be bad in some ways.
Yeah.
But yeah,
bro, it's like going to the buffet, bro. It's too many options. Like I can do whatever I want. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I've seen that happen to myself sometimes. Like I try to double and dabble in too much, and then sometimes I end up doing too much that I can't handle. So then it's like, all right, scale it back a little bit. But skateboarding, bro, you would have been like, I mean, granted, you did grow, but Tony Hawk is pretty long to be a skateboarder.
He is. You're right, bro. He's like 6'3".
Yeah, and I watched his documentary on, I think it was like HBO, and like the fact that he used to get picked at for being like that lanky, not really that strong, but he was doing flips and catching air that none of the typical skaters could do. And creating his own tricks. And so like he created his own wave in like skateboarding. But when you said, like, when your stepdad was like, bro, you gonna grow, like I was like, that's Tony Hawk. Like Tony Hawk like grew, and to this day he's gotta be like 58 still trying to skate.
He's like he's in his 50s for sure. Yeah. But like and you're right about that. But at the same time, like I was never even though I skated and I did some crazy things on the board, I was never so much of a daredevil where I just I was like, F it, I'm gonna do whatever. Yeah. I was still always nervous. Like, I don't think I should do that.
He was conscious. He was like,
yeah. So it's like I wasn't really built for that.
I don't blame you. I'm scared of heights, so I couldn't do nothing like that. Cool. So obviously you said skateboarding, and then you said you really didn't figure out or like have a real idea until like college. So this is where I guess it kind of gets tricky. Like, why? So how did you get the NGU, bro? And that's a question I ask a lot of people.
Yeah, it's cool. I was thinking about this the other day. There's always been like this kind of like a path in my life that I followed, where it's like I was raised in a Christian household, then I grew up in the church, whatever. Ended up going to a Christian high school, like specifically for basketball. Like I did 3 years at a regular public high school. Then I transferred into the prep year. So I did one extra year at a Christian private school.
Yeah.
And then ended up going to NGU, which was a Christian college. So It's like, it's almost like it was just meant to be. It never felt forced. Like when I went on my visits and stuff,
right,
that NGU just felt right for some reason.
That's what's
like
up.
It just felt like a good home environment in a sense. So maybe subconsciously it just felt safe to me. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, that I didn't really hesitate with making that decision. I was just like, oh yeah, I think I would belong here.
Really?
It was weird.
Did you have like any other schools that you were visiting, or NGU?
Yeah. So I got an offer from Limestone. I went there to visit. Yeah, I did that visit probably in the same week, maybe? Or in the same couple of weeks. Yeah. So I did that, and I went on a visit to a D3 school, a couple of NAIA schools. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then Palm Beach Atlantic, which is another D2 in Florida.
Gotcha.
So that was my second option was Palm Beach Atlantic, just because it was like close to Miami. It was closer to home because I live in Tampa. Man, that would have been cool, but. Yeah, NGU ended up, being my home for the next 4 years.
That's dope. And did you like your experience? Like obviously in 4 years, everybody I talk to has different experiences, different takes on NGU. Like, what was your experience like? Obviously, and granted, like, okay, so we all know like sports was kind of divided. I feel like my last 2 years of NGU, like we were trying to build that camaraderie, like with all sports. You know what I mean? Like basketball, football, like hanging out together. Going to like certain events, parties, and stuff like that. It just seemed like the basketball guys always could get into Furman. I ain't know no like football. Like we could not find like what's going on at Furman. Like, and we'll come back to school and then y'all boys would be talking about, yeah, we was just at Furman this weekend. Da, 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 da. Like how y'all getting in there? Like it was a secret society or something. So I'm like, I just want to know like what was your experience like at NG? Like did you fit right? Did you fit right in at those 4 years? Like did you ever have any issues as far as like with the rules, anything like that?
Oh, I hated the rules. There was no point where I was like, oh, yeah, this is cool. Like, nah, the rules suck. But, like, my experience at NGU was good overall.
Right.
Yeah, to be 100% honest, I didn't have the basketball career I wanted, but I was grateful to have been a part of that 2015 team that won the conference championship.
That was hard.
That was great.
That
was a great experience. But, yeah, bro, like, my experience as a whole was it was good. It taught me a lot about myself. I learned that I'm not like if I don't 100% believe in something I'm doing, I'm not going to be any good at it. Like with schooling, like all the classes I was taking for the most part, I was like, I'm just doing this just because I'm here and I want to stay eligible. So I was just like going with the motions, like going through the motions. So yeah, bro. Like, but I love learning. Like I didn't know that back then though.
Yeah.
But I was learning how to make beats in my room, like skipping class and stuff.
Skipping that 8 a.m.
So it's like when you love it, that 8 a.m. is no joke. But yeah, when you love something and you're really into it, have a good night, bro. When you're really into it, it's like you're gonna put your best effort for it.
Yeah.
So like, so yeah, on the school tip, like that was my experience. In terms of the rule again, like the rules sucked. It sucked that it wasn't co-ed. Like it sucked that it just like I respect people like Christians and like people that are true to their faith and all that. But mixing that with like college it's not. It was rough, bro.
Yeah, that's rough. You can't do that.
Yeah, like I got a wild side, bro. Like I wasn't really trying to hear that back then. Like I'm like, bro, like get out of here. Like, and I was, and then. In terms of just like interacting with other students and stuff, that part of it I wish I could go back and go back to that school and interact with more people and just speak to more people and just not assume that they're gonna be like super judgmental, and I might say the wrong thing that'll get me told on, like what I'm saying?
Get kicked out, like that's not even. But that's not even your fault. Like
no, it's not. It's not. But it is at the same time because you don't have to talk about that type of stuff with everybody you meet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
you don't.
You could. So I could just go up and have a conversation and say, "Hey, how you doing? Like, what's up? Let me learn something about you." Like,
Yeah.
So I was the guy that always just had my headphones on, just like kind of just wanted to zone out, listen to my music, and do my own thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just as I've gotten older and wiser, So something I wish I would do. I would have done differently.
I forgot who I talked to. Talked to a couple of people from North Greenville, and then obviously I talked to Thomas Weeks. I don't know if you remember Thomas Weeks. Light skin. He played football, but he's a little bit older than us. But he was there, and I talked to him, and he was just like, "Man, I wish I could go back and just branch out of the circle of the sport that we was playing." You know what I mean? Like. Other kids, you know what I'm saying? Because they probably have stuff going on, and just to be friends and be cool. Not saying that we, to want anything out of the relationship, but just expand, I guess, the mindset. Because you get trapped in just like hanging out with the guys all the time, wanting to do the same stuff over and over. But then you could be exposed to, I don't know, different lifestyles that other students may be going through, and you might find your passion that way, or you might find your next business partner that way. So it's just so many different things. Or reasons why you would want to talk to other students. And I felt the same way, but I just felt like kind of similar to what you were saying, like just having that, Christian faith mixed in with college as far as like the only 4 years you got to do this. I was like, nah, like would you that was my next question. Would you change your college decision? If you could do it all over again, would you change the decision? No?
No, I would not. Because while I kind of like butt heads with the idea of mixing the two, I do think that it's there's value in like having that structure.
Yep.
Because in America, college is kind of seen as this thing where it's like just a party and you just go and binge drink every freaking week, and it's like that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it can be fun, but like that's really not what it should be. Like you're really going there with a purpose, like to learn. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's not like I was doing that all the time, or I would if I could. Like, I was an athlete, so I'm not just gonna abuse that. But I do think there's value in that structure, and also. If I went to like a regular school, I might have had a kid or something, bro. I don't know. There's just like more access to
it's more temptation for sure.
Yeah. The devil's door is open more there, so
Yeah, man. I agree with you, man. I'm glad I asked you that. I just always wanted to figure out why people chose North Greenville University. When I get to speak to people that went to that school, because I would say. I enjoy the relationships that I gotten out of that school. Like my friends that I still, talk to and everything. Like those relationships are everything to me. And I feel like if I didn't go to NGU, I wouldn't have met those type of people. That genuineness and that love. And there were some great things about that school that like you said, that structure, just the people. Sometimes seeing very nice. We had a huge scandal with the president, but that was wild.
That was crazy.
Yo, that was the craziest thing ever, because it went like chapel. Like they played the video in chapel, bro. Like who was in charge of the teleprompter or something? Because you just said, "Oh no, we're gonna play this," and he was. That's one of the things I'll never forget. But great people. Everybody make mistakes.
That's the number one thing I would change.
Everybody make mistakes.
When they had the chapel just for the athletes, I would have changed that, bro. That's the only thing. Like, come on, how are you gonna single us out, bro? Come on.
It's wild, but that's what's up, man. Okay, cool. So we go from there. Talk to us about what you're doing now, man, because you're still an athlete. You're still doing, your passion, doing what you love, and can you tell us about what you're doing, what team you're a part of, and how you got to be a part of all of that?
Yeah, so I currently play for the Washington Generals, which is the opposing team to the Harlem Globetrotters.
Okay.
If you don't know who they are, your parents might know, for anyone listening. But yeah, I mean, it's an honor to be a part of this organization. Like, it's so iconic, and it's like,
yes, sir.
It really is a conversation starter. That's what I've found. It's like there's a lot of value in that name, and it's like it's taken me around the world. I started in February of 2019, so I'm about 3.5 years in, and I just signed my 4th contract with them, which is a blessing. So I just came back from Australia and New Zealand a couple weeks ago. So it's like, bro, I never would have imagined I'd be playing ball still.
Yeah.
Like, when I was in college, I was like, I was self-aware to a fault. Like, I was so self-aware that it kind of like shot down my confidence a little bit. Because I was like, all right, like, I'm a good athlete. I'm very athletic.
Right.
But my skills are lacking in this area. So I was so self-aware about that, but I didn't put the work in to get better at those skills. So it was kind of like, damn, I know this is what it is, but I'm not
self-sabotaging.
So like my confidence is going down.
Yeah.
So it's like, after my senior season, I made my highlight tape, was reaching out to overseas agents and coaches. Then didn't hear anything back. So I hung my jersey up. I said, you know what, it's over, bro. So did my internship with the Yankees, didn't get a full-time position with them. Then I started working at a hotel in New York City called the Standard High Line. I was working as a bar back. I was working as a busser at first for probably 5 months. I was so out of place, bro. I was so out of place. So I did that for a little bit. And then, I was like, I got to become a bartender or something. I got to do something else. So I told them, and then I got promoted to bar back. Then I was a bar back running. That was fun. That was dope. Like, New York City life, like nightlife is crazy, bro. So that was really fun. And then I was approaching that bartender position, and then I was like, this ain't it, bro. Like, this ain't what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good trade to have. It's cool, but like, this ain't my lifestyle. I don't want to do this. So I was like, I want to play ball again. Quit my job. I had a certain amount saved. Wasn't that much, but it was enough to get me by until, I found something. So I just had faith in it and was like, I reached out to a bunch of coaches, bunch of agents, ended up hearing back from a semi-pro team in the Bronx.
Yep.
By the way, this is all me, bro. Like,
your work ethic.
I'm doing all the emails, and I learned this from my mom because my mom was the one who used to do it for me. Mm-hmm. I credit her so much for getting me a scholarship because while my high school coach helped a lot, his priority was more so the guys that were going D1 and stuff.
Yeah.
So my mom was the one reaching out to coaches, doing hella emails and whatever. She was getting me interest and visits and stuff.
Right.
So, and I ended up getting a full scholarship. So yeah, shout out to my mom. But once I was post-college, she had taught me to do that. So I'm just reaching out hundreds of emails, bro, literally writing down every name every email I need to, research online, YouTube, reaching out to YouTube creators yo, how'd you do this, blah, blah, blah. So eventually heard back from that team. I went to one of their practices a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Dunked on somebody crazy, jumped over Vince Carter type. I jumped over somebody, got a putback.
Ooh.
Crazy. They were like, yo, come play with us, blah, blah, blah. I played two games with them, and then the team oddly just fell apart. It was so weird. The coach quit. They were like, we're done, whatever. Okay. Never heard back from them again. So then I'm like, damn, I got back to the drawing board. Right. I got to figure something out. And then, so I used to coach for this dude's AAU team, his 8 and under team, and he used to be on the Globetrotters.
Okay.
So one of my dad's friends. And then my dad was like, yo, why don't you reach out to Mike? We can get you on with the Trotters. I'm like, I don't really want to do that. It's fake basketball. I don't want to do that.
That's what you thought? You was it's fake basketball?
You said what?
In the beginning, you was you thought it was fake basketball?
I thought it was just all scripted. There was just no basketball.
Gotcha.
I was like, I don't want to do that, bro. So then he told my mom, yo, you should be doing this, blah, blah, blah. They can do, And then she called me and cursed me out, bro. She was like, man, you better pick up that phone and call that. I was like, shit. I was like, damn, they're right. Why wouldn't I? This is an opportunity. I can travel the world, whatever.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the dude. He put me in contact with the director of scouting for the Trotters. The guy was like, yo, send me some film, send me some dunks, whatever you can do. Send it to him. They reached out immediately back to me and was like, yo, we would love to have you on, come to a tryout in Connecticut, and I was in New York at the time, so that was an hour drive.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, I'll be there. This was a week in advance. They said, yo, be here next week. I said, bet. Drove there. It was a practice they were having before a game. Went there, did a workout. They put me through a workout, whatever. I'm kind of out of shape, too. I'm like, then one of the guys on the Generals was like, bro, it's all right. They understand. It's all good.
Okay, man.
So after the practice, after the workout, the coaches brought me to the back and were like, yeah, so we would love to bring you on as a Washington General. I said, all right, bet. Let's do it. And so I went home and then, but literally in a week, I was on tour.
Dang.
So, and the rest is history.
But that happened crazy, so quick. So
it happened so quick, bro. It was crazy.
Tell me.
It was crazy.
Okay, so being a part of the Washington Generals, so your perspective of when your stepdad mentioned Globe, you should try out for the Trotters, that's fake basketball, da da da. Then once you actually got into it, was it a totally not what you expected?
Honestly, bro, I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew the Globetrotters, they do the magic circle, they do their dunks and stuff. So I just knew that part of it. But I didn't know the general side of it. I didn't know the hooping side of it. So like, yeah, bro, I got there and I was like, oh, we can play a little bit. We get up and down. Like I stay in shape. Like I can still get off and do what I do best, get my putbacks and all that. Like, it's perfect for me, you know. I like it. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. It's one of those things where it's like long term, I don't see myself doing it. Like maybe, you know, no more than like 4 or 5 more years. Because even then, I'm like 4 years, I'll be 32. Like at some point, I want to settle down and like have a family.
For sure.
And like tour life is not really doesn't really work with that.
Gotcha.
Guys do it, but it's tougher. So yeah, I'm enjoying it right now. I've been to like 8, 9 countries. Like it's crazy.
What's your favorite?
So,
what's your favorite country?
My favorite place I've been to is Spain, specifically Malaga, Spain.
Why?
It is so beautiful, bro. Like it's got you got the beach side of it, and then it's like the city part. I don't really know how to describe it, but
okay.
I've always tried to, and I failed to put it into words. It's like I'll send you some pictures, and you'll understand. But like, for anybody listening to this, look up Malaga, Spain. Malaga, Spain. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we gotta look. Send me some pictures because I want to see. But I understand what you're saying. Like it's one of those places that, you know, it's so beautiful you can't even, like, you just gotta be there to kind of witness the vibe and the aura. Like some places it's not even about like what's there. It's just how it makes you feel at that particular time. Like I can't, you know, you can't conjure up that feeling nowhere else. Like I can go to a beach in the United States, but it doesn't beat when I was in Spain. You know what I'm saying? Like you probably had one of your biggest light bulb moments come in that, you know, in that particular place. Like you probably drew so much content or creativeness in that specific place, and it's just like it's one of those things you wish you could recreate, but you just can't. You know what I'm saying? You actually have to be there. And so I understand completely. So obviously I appreciate you explaining to us about your journey as far as like how you became a Washington in general. I think that's super dope, and it gives you an opportunity to continue to play basketball, a sport that you really love. But you also have multiple other hobbies outside of that as well too. So how did the brand start? You know what I'm saying? Like Imperfect, I'm perfect. How did, you know, like how did this start? Like where did the idea come from? Like, cause I love the concept. I was like, this is the dopest thing I've ever seen. So
yeah, appreciate that. So, you know, I definitely take some credit for the idea because, you know, it came to me somehow and I wrote it down. But like ultimately all these ideas are just like from somewhere else, and you know, you get lucky enough to like cross paths with it at some point. And it's like there's reference points throughout your life that, you know, create this moment in time where you get an idea. It's a light bulb switch. So like, this is something I always write down my ideas. Any cool idea I think I have, like, oh, let me write this down. This might be something I could do. And at the time, around the time I started with the Generals, I was like writing ideas down to put on a shirt specifically. And I had a couple, you know, and just kept them in my photo album and stuff. And never did anything with them. I was just like, one day I'm gonna do something with this. Yeah. Fast forward a couple years later, went through a lot of life experience in those couple years, you know, COVID and everything, you know, relationships, all type of stuff. And I just decided one day that like, all right, I got to figure this out. Within like a couple of weeks, I had it down. I had a draft done, and I just went from there. So basically, the idea behind Imperfect is it's a balance between confidence and humility. And I just think that there's a lot of value in like talking about duality in life and balance. Yeah. So that's just like the idea came, and then from there it's like, okay, I have this idea, I have this product, and it has meaning, but like what other meaning can I draw from this? So like I'll just always be thinking like, all right, what else is here? Because it's not just the word. Like, so what else is here? So now I'm like, oh, like duality. Like, okay, I'm looking at all these things in my life that are duality, is balance, like two sides to something. Yeah. So it's like it just all ties in together, and it's so many people can relate with. You know, embrace your imperfections. Kendrick Lamar, I mean, has been talking about this heavy lately. I've noticed. If you look at like his last couple of interviews, like he's preaching imperfection. He posted on his story like yesterday, like, "Yo, I love embracing imperfection." Blah blah blah. That's just a word that's always been coming up with him lately.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And yeah, man, it's something I believe in. I stand on. So why not put it on a shirt? And you know, I don't know if you've seen some of my other designs. I have one that says immortal, which is the same concept, but you know, dealing with duality. But it's also like it's like your physical body is mortal, so I'm mortal,
right?
But spirit is immortal.
Yep.
So all of this spirituality and all of these things, I have to credit places like NGU, you know, for that balance I've had in my life. Because like without that structure and like always being reminded that there's something bigger than me, I don't know if I would, you know, have this mindset right now. So while I did hate the rules, you know, some of the people weren't, you know, we didn't really see eye to eye. Like,
right.
I wouldn't take it back, you know.
For sure. You learn something in everything. And I respect the brand, man, like duality. That's I think as you get older, you know, you start to realize that, you know, there's two sides to everything. There's, you know, good, bad, like nothing that you're doing, like, you know, there's always two sides. Like nothing is just one sided. If you really quite honestly think about it. But you know, imperfect, I'm perfect. Like right now with social media, there could be, you know, social media is a gift and sometimes it's a curse, depending on how you view it and how you use the tool, because it's nothing but a tool. And sometimes that tool can have people, you know, obviously feel like they're imperfect all the time. Like there's nothing about them is right. You know what I mean? But when you look at it, like you are perfect. You're just perfect in your own way. Like we're not all here to, you know, sync or be just alike. We're all uniquely divine and created in different ways. Like that's why there's no same fingerprint. You know what I mean? Like things like that. When you think about it, it's like, how is there billions of people on Earth, but none of us have the same fingerprint whatsoever? You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, I vibe with it, and I want to just kind of just get an idea of like where it came from and how it started. And I hope people that's watching this, like if you have an idea or, you know, a design, like obviously you don't have to do anything with it at first. You can put it to the side and just be like, I'm gonna get to it one day. But I think it's important that you should always have a meaning behind anything that you put out there, because like the meaning is what attracts people. You know what I'm saying? Like I was attracted to it because of how I view myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm perfect, but I'm also imperfect as well. And so I find that pretty dope. And then we talked about content creation. Is that something that you've always been into? Just creating content. Like what do you map it out, or like how do you come up with the things that you want to you know, put out or, you know, create?
So just like my ideas that I write down for maybe a shirt, I write down ideas I have for a piece of content I can make for a specific platform. You know, it doesn't always get made, but you know, I make sure I get my ideas on, not on paper, but on my notes on my phone. And like, bro, to answer your question, like I've always been making content like in some way. Like when I was in middle school, I was begging my parents for a video camera for Christmas. And I got it because I wanted to like make skate videos and home videos. Like I was just recording my family, just like, you know, on my little director tip. Like, and I didn't realize it back then. Like that's content, but that's just something I've always been into, like entertainment and media and tech. Like, and I credit my dad a lot for that, because he was, you know, he's from New York. He always had me like the new gadgets. He always got me like you know, I had a MacBook when I was like really young. Like, I was one of my first friends with an iPhone. Like I've just always had gadgets, bro. Yeah. So, like I've just always been into that. So yeah, I like making content, bro. It's fun. It's even me. I was talking to my boy the other day about this yesterday, actually. Like recording a video of me just walking through New York City is not just me just doing it. Like that's a piece of content that I'm enjoying. Like, oh, this is a cool angle. Like in my mind, like I'm making a movie. So it's not like, and it's for me. Like, right. I think it's cool that other people are able to see it too. but like I feel like cool as hell when I'm walking with my phone, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm Stanley Kubrick, like.
Word.
So like I don't know, that's just something I like doing, is creating things, making things.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, when you talk about content, man, like I think the success comes from doing what you love. Like, I don't know if you ever started creating content and your goal was to monetize it or create money from it, but it seems like you had a genuine passion of I just like to see different angles. I like, you get into that kid like mindset when you got that. You walking through New York and you getting these angles and you putting your movie together in your mind. Like, people think you just got a camera and you record, but in your mind, it's a whole different game being played up here. You know what I mean? Like, you putting pieces together, you creating your own little montage or your own little movie. And it means a lot more to you than versus the person that sees you from across the street. Like, oh, he's just creating content, for whatever page or YouTube he has. And I find that, people have the most success as far as like with discipline, as far as like continuing to, produce content, because producing content is hard. But just having the discipline to keep doing it, keep putting it out there, keep working on your craft, like, you have to love it at first. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you still love it. You still love messing around, getting the views, getting the angles, and just, making up whatever perception in your mind that's going on that camera. And I just think with a lot of content creators that are very successful, that's how it all started. Like, it was the love. And then after you follow your passion as far as with love, the money comes, on the back end from it, because other people think what you're doing is cool. Like, do you feel like that's kind of the wave in which life kind of works? Or you feel like there are some people that's like, no, I'm getting in this for the money and that's it. I mean, it's two sides, right? We talked about duality. So I think there's people that's doing both, but I think the enjoyment comes from like that first side of just loving what you do first.
Yeah, bro. I think it's just up to the individual. Like, it's a different situation for everybody. Like, some people love it, and then they end up being the quote unquote starving artist.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a video today. They were like, a starving artist is essentially just like a glorified loser, because it's like they end up like they got the passion, they got the love for it, but then they don't have the balance of like, all right, I gotta eat, like I gotta get money from it.
Right.
They don't. They're purists, so they don't. They think they're selling out if they make money from their craft.
Gotcha.
And that's far from what I want to be. Like, I want to make money. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's not. I don't try to be secretive about that or like deceptive. Otherwise, I wouldn't sell a product. Like, it's to make money, but it's also to get a message out and to be an outlet for me. I might not always make shirts. I might do something. I don't know, but I think that I guess I can only speak for myself. I'm always very conscious that what I'm doing needs to contribute to the lifestyle that I want. So even if it's something as simple as going out and working out, like that, to me, that's investing in my body. That's in my mental health. Like, that's something that's contributing to the life I want. If I'm making a YouTube video, I do have in mind that, like, oh, I can make money from this as well. You know what I'm saying? So, but the money isn't
it's not a priority.
No, it's a priority, but it's not the main reason why I do things.
Gotcha.
Like, but at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, with certain things. Like, if you got a job, if you need to get a job to like just make money, that's okay sometimes. Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I definitely get what you're saying. I feel like, I guess my take is, as far as like, and I don't want anybody to think that I want you guys to be a glorified loser. I just feel like,
that was a little harsh.
That was.
It wasn't my words, but like I agree with it.
That was true though. Like, there's people that it's glorified. It's kind of pretty much glorified losing. But I also feel like, I don't know, man. Like, for me, I feel like it has to like align with like a purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just be out here just because, like, I can get a job and just want to make money, but then I'm gonna also be miserable. You know what I mean? But like you said, like, when you create a a video or content, like obviously you enjoy creating content, but you know that if my content is good enough, there's a bag behind that. You know what I mean? Like that's the sprinkles on top. You know what I mean? But that's not the whole cupcake. You know what I mean? Like the breading of the cupcake is that I really enjoy content. I want other people to see it. But then the sprinkles on top is like, I'm gonna get this bag on the back end. So like that's the complete product. I just don't, you know, for me that's what I'm having a hard time in life as far as like figuring out what I want to do. Like I got this podcast. I love talking to people. I love diving in, asking questions. But it ain't no bag on the back of this. You know what I mean? Like I'm not making any money yet. We're not, you know what I'm saying? Like I got the podcast. We're monetizing on, you know, streams as far as like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, things of that nature. But as far as the YouTube side, there's nothing going on. Like I could easily cut the video stuff off and just do strictly audio. But I love seeing the video, giving people another way of viewing it. You know what I mean? And I feel like if I keep going and just, even if I don't make $1, I still would continue to make videos. You know what I mean? Like I just, you know, that's how I feel. But then I also don't want to be a glorified loser and be like, this dude been making videos all this time and ain't made no money yet. You know what I mean?
Well, what I think they meant by like glorified losers, people that think you're selling out by monetizing your craft.
Gotcha.
Where you're like so pure, you're such a purist that it's like, oh no, like I just do this for the love, you know.
Okay, got you.
Like that, yeah.
So they're not trying to monetize at all.
Not like, oh, I've been skateboarding for 20 years and I'm still not a pro. Like I suck, so like I'm a loser because I keep doing it. Like no, if it brings me true enjoyment, like that's fine.
You can never lose.
It's like gaming. It's like gaming. I don't think you're a loser if you play video games. Like if you get enjoyment from that, and it's like you get to connect with your friends, like there's value in that.
Yeah. It's all to the person and like I guess why you do it. You know what I mean? Like it all comes down to your why and your alignment. Just like you said, you know, for you make conscious decisions on, if I'm doing something, I want it to align with, you know, the goals and the vision that I have for myself in the future, as far as like with fitness, as far as like with Imperfect. Like that seems like the conversation we just had, it seems like everything that you're doing is in alignment of where you're trying to go. Like even though you may not know like what the end goal looks like, but you know how you want to feel and how you want to be perceived along this journey, it seems like everything that you're doing is fitting that perception and how people look at you. So, you know, I do want to say, man, believe it or not, we coming up on an hour and some change, and I think I've had like this has been a great conversation, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as well. I want to leave the podcast, and I just want to know, what is your advice to people that are trying to find their purpose in life? What advice would you give them on, you know, just how to, like I said, find their purpose and figure out what they're on earth to do?
Okay, there's a couple things. So first, I would say do things with purpose, and you know that will eventually lead you to feeling like you have a purpose. Like for some people, maybe their purpose is literally to be a mom, like, which is a beautiful thing. Like it doesn't have to be this huge, like grandiose, like, oh, my purpose is to be the #1 producer in the world. Like it doesn't have to be that. Yeah. So it just takes a lot of like inner work and, you know, meditation for some people. For myself, that works. And just like reminding yourself of like who you were as a teenager and like middle schooler. Like what were the things that got you super excited? Yeah. You weren't even thinking about money or like stupid things that we do as adults. Yeah. What were those things that just got you like, yo, you couldn't wait for the next day to like do it again? Yeah. Like for me, that was skateboarding. That was like, you know, that was certain like clothes and like rap videos, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, the whole culture of that. So try to connect with those things. Look at some old pictures, like remember who you were back then. Yeah. And try to connect that to who you are now. And like once you merge the two, it's like you get a better understanding. And by the way, I'm still figuring it out. I'm not like, oh, I made it. Like, no,
sure.
I'm still doing these things. I'm doing as I learn, learning as I go. So yeah, that'd be my advice. And if you're like really young, like really anybody, like have more understanding for your parents, because like even though they're older than you and they raised you, like they still might be figuring it out too.
Yeah,
it's like sometimes you might surpass them in understanding yourself or like certain things about life. So have more understanding for your parents, and realize that in most cases they don't have any ill will towards you. They do things because they want to protect you, and they want you to be great. But sometimes, they don't realize that they're kind of like holding you back in some ways.
Yeah.
So once you realize that, it's like, give them empathy and understanding. And if you feel like you know what you want to do, like stand on that.
Yeah, that's hard. Appreciate that. I mean, it sounds like everything that you put together is like just grace. If it'd be a good word to use as far as like give yourself grace to understand yourself, and then like you talked about your parents, give them grace as far as like, some people's, my mom had me when she was 20, like she's still a kid.
I was 21.
You know what I'm saying? Like she's still a kid. Like I can imagine myself at 20. Like there's no way. You know what I'm saying? No way I would have the confidence or the I guess the mindset to be able to raise, who I am today, or just the young man and the young, the men that we are. So it's wild to think about. And I think we lose that perception, that our parents are people, outside of the title of mom and dad. You know what I mean? Like when you get older, you have to separate the two.
Yeah, I was watching this interview, and this comedian was like, once you realize like your dad was just a nigga who got somebody pregnant, like you just have a better relationship with them. Like they liked each other, they smashed, and they had you. Like, it's like it is what it is, bro.
Word, that's what's up. Well, Troy, man, we appreciate you, man. The only thing we need is 2 recommendations, bro. I need 2 people that you feel like fits the mold of the podcast, bro. Somebody that I could chop it up with. That's how we keep this podcast moving. And I would just love to get 2 recommendations from you. If you don't have them in mind right now, that's okay. If you do, you can tell us who they are, kind of like what they do, just to give the people an idea of what they would, what's to come.
Yeah. Dang, there's a lot of people that come to mind, man.
You can send me top 5. We take all recommendations.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like sit on that for a minute, and I can send you some, because there's a lot of interesting people that I think you would find value in like talking to them, and bro. So I can definitely send you a list of people that I think.
Send me a list, bro. I work down. Sure. I work down the list. There's so many people in the world. I wish I could talk to everybody in the world, but we'll get there one day. But other than that, bro, you have a good night. I appreciate you so much again, bro. If there's anything that we can do over here, just let me know. If there's any, we looking at the drop. Like I don't want you to feel like this is transactional. Like I support all brands, all people. So if they got something going on, I try to repost, share, do what I can to, do my part as far as like helping the universe and helping people out. So if you ever got anything going on, let people know where they can find you. Plug in the podcast. Whatever you got going on, just plug that in for us real quick, and then we out.
Yeah. All right. Before I do that, I just wanted to say like thank you, and you're very wise. I'm glad we got to chop it up. It's been a minute. But one thing I will say about you, like every time I seen you on campus in college, like you had a smile on your face. Like that's what I remember. I just remember you having this big smile on your face, whether you were with Anthony or whatever, whoever. Yeah. Like so, just know that like that's what is probably in a lot of people's minds when they think about you. Is like because it's not like we knew each other like that. Like
right? We just knew each other like passing. You know what I'm saying? Athlete to athlete.
Like, it's like. Yeah, so yeah, for sure. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
But bro, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all at Troy Blyden. TroyBlyden.com if you want to support and grab some of this merch. Paid Day Off Podcast. That's my podcast with with my friends. We talk about mainly hip hop, but just like the culture in general. And maybe I'll be in your city next year playing with the Generals and the Globetrotters. So if you follow me and you ever see that I'm gonna be in your city, because I'll post my schedule. Okay. Reach out to me.
I will.
I love giving people tickets and like letting them experience like what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So don't hesitate to reach out. Am I missing anything? No, I'm not. I just dropped 2 things on my website though. 2 a tank top and a t-shirt. So yeah, check me out.
Let's go. We on that. Shout out to Troy Blyden. Appreciate you. Have a good night. And we always gonna stay connected, man, my friend. I'm always watching from afar. And you be safe and enjoy.
Sir, respect.
Respect, man. See ya.